Department of Mechanical Engineering in Sharad Institute of Technology Polytechnic Yadrao. Today we are going to continue our next session of internal combustion engine for the subject Power Engineering and Refrigeration. In this session we are going to cover the following content, that is supercharging, turbocharging. In supercharging we are going to see the objectives and advantages of supercharging, types of supercharger and supercharging arrangements. And in turbocharging we are going to see the objectives of turbocharging, construction and working of turbocharger, and advantages and disadvantages of turbocharging. We start from supercharging. Supercharging is the process of increasing the inlet air or charge density in order to increase the power output of the engine, that is called supercharging. This device is used for increasing the pressure of air above the atmospheric pressure. That device is called supercharger. Supercharger is an air compressor used for forced induction of IC engine. Greater mass flow rate provides the more oxygen to support combustion that would be available naturally in engine. Supercharger allow more fuel to be burned and more work to be done by cycle, increasing the power output of the engine. The objectives of the supercharging are to increase the power output of the engine by increasing the density of the charge intake, to reduce the weight to power ratio, and to overcome the loss of power at high altitudes, either in case of static engines or in case of aircraft applications. Also, to reduce the bulk of the engine where weight and space are important considerations, like in case of locomotives and marine engines. The effect of supercharging is we require high power to output ratio, and here we get higher power output after the supercharging. Also, greater induction of charge mass, better optimization of fuel, better mixing of fuel and air fuel, and better scavenging of the products. Also, we get better torque characteristic over the whole speed range and more complete and smoother combustion. Also, again, there are so much effects like smoother operation and a reduction in diesel knocking tendency in diesel engine, increased detonation tendency in SI engine, improved the cold starting, reduced the exhaust smoke, and increased the mechanical efficiency, increased the thermal stresses, increased the heat losses due to increased turbulence, also increased the gas loading. But there are some limitations, like because of also one more advantage is that we get the increased indicated mean effective pressure with the supercharged engine, and it is due to the increased amount of air induced during the suction process. This results into increased power output of the engine. But there are some limitations also. Our first limitation is increase in air pressure increases the maximum pressure attained in cylinder, and this increases the weight of the cylinder since the engine has to be designed to withstand higher pressure. Second is increased maximum pressure in the cylinder tends to increase detonation tendency in case of SI engines. Also, higher peak pressure increases the friction losses, and higher peak pressure increases the bearing loads also. The excessive supercharging may result into higher mean cylinder wall temperatures, and it may causes the melting of the piston top and pre-ignition problems. Higher peak temperatures will lead to higher exhaust gas temperatures, and it causes overheating of the exhaust wall. These are the limitations of the superchargers. Now we see the various types of superchargers. There are mainly three types, that is, first is the centrifugal type, second is the root type, and third is the vane type. We start from the centrifugal type. In figure we can see here the centrifugal type supercharger. In here we can say there is a, at the center there is a inlet, air inlet, and after that there is a impeller, and again diffuser and volute casing, and here there is a outlet. First what happens, the air fuel mixture enters the impeller at center here. It then passes through the impeller and diffuser vanes. Finally, air or mixture enters the volute casing and then goes to the engine from the casing. The mixture will come out at higher pressure, and this condition is called supercharged condition. And because of higher pressure, more air fuel mixture is forced into the cylinder. About 30% more air fuel mixture can be forced into the combustion chamber, and this impeller runs at very high speeds, about 80,000 revolutions per minute. Therefore, the impeller should be able to withstand the high stresses produced at this speed, and impellers are usually made of duraluminum or aluminum steel to withstand the high stresses. Next is the root type. In root type supercharger, we can see here there is a inlet, there is a air outlet, and there are two rotors are connected with each other of epicycloid shape, which these two rotors keyed to its shaft, and one rotor is connected with other one by means of gears. The gears are of equal sizes, and therefore both the rotors rotate at same speed. The root supercharger operates like a gear pump, and the mixture at the outlet of the supercharger will be much higher pressure than the inlet. This is about root type. And last is the vane type. In vane type supercharger, we can see here there are a number of vanes can slide in or out against the force of the spring. Here we can see there are number of vanes are mounted on the drum which is inside the body of the supercharger, and these vanes can slide in or out against the force of the spring. And because of this arrangement, the vanes are always in contact with the inner surface of the body, and the space between the inner surface of the body and the drum decreases from the inlet to outlet side. In this way, the quantity of the mixture which enters at the inlet and decreases in volume, and because of which the pressure of the mixture will increases as it reaches the exit. Next is now we see the gear arrangements or supercharging arrangement, and first arrangement here is that gear driven supercharging arrangement. Here in this figure we can see there is an engine and there is a compressor, and compressor is connected to engine with step up gearing. Okay, here gear is connected to both engine and compressor. Here in figure we see compressor coupled to the engine with step up gearing to increase the rotational speed of the compression, and in this case certain percentage of the engine output is utilized to drive the compressor. The net output increases due to the supercharging is obtained by subtracting this power output from the engine gross output. After cooler is also shown here, by which the cool air to the engine can be sent if so desired. So this will be further increase the density of the air intake. Here we can see here the first inlet, air inlet compressor, then here the outlet from the compressor goes to the cooler, and after cooling the air goes into the engine inlet manifold, and after here the engine output exhaust from the engine. Okay, next is the exhaust driven supercharging arrangement. In exhaust driven supercharging arrangement, what happens, the exhaust of the engine or exhaust gases are connected to the inlet of the turbine, and because of that, and turbine is connected to the inlet to the compressor. Here in this figure we can see here there is a engine with free exhaust driven compressor, and the engines so equipped are said to be turbo supercharged. In this case, the exhaust energy of the engine is used to drive the turbine which is coupled to the compressor, and there is no mechanical coupling of the compressor or turbine with the engine. The exhaust pipe of the engine is however connected to the inlet of the turbine, and in this case engine output is not utilized to drive the compressor. This is exhaust driven supercharging arrangement for the supercharging. Now we see the turbocharging. In turbocharging, the turbocharger or turbo is the centrifugal compressor powered by a turbine and that is driven by the engine's exhaust gases. Its benefits lies with compressor increasing the mass of the air entering the engine, that is forced induction, and thereby resulting the greater performance for the power and efficiency. Now we see the objectives of the turbocharger. The first objective of the turbocharger is same as it is improve as engine's volumetric efficiency by increasing the intake density. The compressor draws an ambient air and compresses it before it enters into the intake manifold at increased pressure, and that results in greater mass of air entering the cylinder on each intake stroke, and the power needed to spin the centrifugal compressor is derived from the high pressure and temperature of the engine exhaust gases. The turbine converts the engine exhaust potential pressure energy and kinetic velocity energy into rotational power, and which is in turn used to drive the compressor. The turbocharger mainly consists turbine, compressor, some common axles, subassemblies and air cooler. In this figure we can see here, this is the construction of the turbocharger, where here the engine, here the air charger air cooler, and here the compressor and turbine both are coupled with each other. Here we can see first compressed air goes to the charger of air cooler, where air is cooled and high density of air goes to intake manifold of the engine, and after from exhaust manifold hot gases or hot air goes to the turbine inlet, and again turbine is coupled to the compressor. Here we see the function of each component. Here the air is pressurized by the compressor. Here for air cooler, the air cooler brings the air to high density to the engine by decreasing the temperature, and here the engine where the engine can work at high power density without increase of the thermal load, and here there is a turbine power where the turbine power is transmitted to the compressor through the rotating shaft, and a part of the exhaust gas energy is treated by the turbine. Okay, this working of the turbine is that when the exhaust gases from the engine flows along the exhaust manifold and through the nozzle box assembly and enters into these blades of the gas turbine, and where the mechanical work is done by the gas turbine. As the turbine turns at high speed, it causes the compressor to compress the atmospheric air in case of diesel engine, or air fuel mixture in case of the petrol engine, and enters the engine cylinder. In both systems, air enters through an air intake and passes through an air cleaner and travels through a duct. Okay, and usually funnel shaped, and to the compressor inlet portion of the turbocharger, and from there air is forced through the diffuser into the intake manifold and to the individual cylinders, and the most critical problem is controlling the manifold or boost pressure. This is amount of additional boost pressure created by the turbocharger, and the boost must be controlled or the engine will begin to detonate and eventually burn holes in piston and self-destruct. The solution lies in this waste gate, or safety valves are placed there, which is key to intake manifold pressure and exhaust pressure, or a combustion of both. Okay, this is all about the working of the turbocharger. Next is now we see the advantages of the turbocharger. It is improved torque at a low RPM in case of diesel engines, and over a whole speed range in case of petrol engines. Also better mixing of air and petrol in case of petrol engine, and resulting in effective pollution control, and the engine runs smoother and quieter, and reduces the diesel knocking, also is in starting from cold starting condition, Also less smoke during low speed acceleration, and it improves the horsepower in case of both petrol and diesel engines. And the disadvantages of turbocharging is that it entails better cooling system, but the design becomes expensive and complicated, and wear and tear is at a faster rate. This is all about turbocharging. Okay, in this session we cover the supercharging and turbocharging terms. Okay, next session we are going to cover various sensors and fuel injection pumps. Thank you.